Now, Black Panther Wakanda Forever's marked the beginning of Phase 5 for the MCU, but it appears that Kang has not yet attained the same levels of villainy as Thanos has. Even though Thanos was the overarching antagonist in the first 3 stages, even yet, it can be challenging to compete with a villain as complex and deep as Thanos. But even still, there are certain little facts about Thanos that a lot of people overlooked, so of course, we're going to delve into those right now. Firstly, his plan didn't make sense. Fans can be pardoned for thinking that Thanos' scheme has at least a remote chance of succeeding because he was the main character in Avengers Infinity War. Thanos devoted decades to assembling the information since he strongly believed it. After many even argued that Thanos was correct, it was when Avengers Endgame that fans recognized how absurd that was. Although it is wicked, having all of the universe's life is also ridiculous. Thanos also divided available food supplies and essential resources like trees in half to eradicate overpopulation. Less prey means predators will have more difficulty finding food in the environment, which could result in widespread hunger. Here's the mythology behind him. Thanos really stands out among villains in both the fictional world and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But where did he originate from? Well, did you know the writer-artist behind Thanos, Jim Starlin, created the Titan while he was taking psychology classes in college? Thanatos, a term frequently used to refer to the death instinct that Freud felt people have, served as the main inspo for the figure of Thanos in the MCU. Thanos' name was also influenced by the Greek god Thanatos, who is revered as the god of death. In addition to the Freudian idea, due to his intense and obsessional relationship with the Marvel character who represents death, Thanos was given the moniker Thanos, taken inspiration from Thanatos. Well, this one may be common knowledge, but Thanos is a very tough opponent. Thanos' abilities are demonstrated by the fact that his parents were evil Eternals. In all comic books and films, including Infinity Wars, Thanos' abilities are clear even before he obtains the Infinity Stones. As seen in Infinity War, Thanos desired power and sought out the Infinity Stones not to amass power for the sake of power, but rather to do something greater than himself. Thanos is a villain who's prepared to suffer a personal setback and give up things that are dear to him to protect the cosmos and all life within it. Now, Thanos is also a villain that has dabbled in genetic research and has even created clones. Despite his talents and fighting skill, Thanos was a difficult opponent because he controlled his rage and avoided letting it cloud his judgment. Thanos grins after electing to go on his own in the search for the stones, demonstrating his willingness to get his hands filthy and do all the work. Due to his ability to control the ferocious and extremely effective Chitauri and Outrider armies, Thanos was a villain to be feared. Next, Thanos never actually loved Gamora. Thanos sacrificed Gamora to retrieve the Soul Stone in what has to be one of the most sad scenes in the MCU. It also served as evidence that his love for her was sincere, sufficient for the stone to accept her sacrifice. However, it should be recognized that the actuality diverges from Thanos' perception. However, a parent who will give up his child for his personal gain most certainly lacks love for his child. Given that he jumped at the chance to battle the Avengers and instantly wipe out half the universe, which may be enough for the Soul Stone, but on the other hand, Thanos hardly even let Gamora's loss affect him for very long. He may have had a warped love for her, but it was not the pure, unwavering love that kids, especially young kids, require, considering how he treated Nebula. He is actually not mortal. It's improbable that Thanos was immortal, given the information that he had a sibling named Eros. Eros has already stated that he is an Eternal. Even though the Earth-based Eternals are not typical humans, though Eros requires further development, he and the Eternals may share many traits, which puts Thanos in a precarious situation. What his status as an Eternal signifies for a monster like Thanos is only inferred by fans. If there are still additional copies of Thanos, he might come back. Also, saving Gamora was not an act of mercy. After killing her family, Thanos found a young orphan girl living alone on Zen-Huberi and adopted her. Thanos raised her as his own, teaching her how to fight, kill, and infiltrate opposing groups. Many fans perceived Thanos' adoption of Gamora as a soft spot. It was only another instance of brutality, though. Thanos might have taken the girl and the last members of her race to an orphanage on her planet. Instead, he abducted her and turned her into a combatant. In addition to tricking her into fighting for him, he also kidnapped her for her tribe and deprived her of the opportunity to grieve. It was a subtle act of revolting savagery, which is why Thanos is undoubtedly the best villain in the MCU. He has insane strengths, but he does have his weaknesses. In the comic books, Thanos was shown as having a strong yearning for harmony and order. Unfortunately, to realize this wish, many people were killed. Thanos gathered the Infinity Jewels to make this possible. Thanos' affection for Mistress Death was one of his primary flaws. She had the authority to rule over him, which made him weak. Thanos possesses the abilities of his superhuman race, the Eternals. Additionally, it has grown due to technological advancements and the additional superhuman abilities that Death has granted him. Thanos possesses extraordinary stamina, agility, and strength. He is a genius-level planner and tactician, and a master of hand-to-hand fighting. In addition to his superhuman abilities, Thanos had access to nearly every powerful, mystical artifact as well as weapons. Thanos is capable of telekinesis, telepathy, and the power to absorb and then project large amounts of cosmic energy. With his ability to control matter, Thanos can practically go without food, water, or even oxygen for an infinite amount of time. Thanos possesses a high level of resilience to mental attacks and is resistant to all known terrestrial ailments. He cannot age-related death either. Because of his superior intelligence, Thanos captured Gamora and effortlessly outwit the Guardians of the Galaxy. With his two-edged blade, Thanos is an expert user. In the killing of the Corbinites, he employed this weapon. His hubris was once a weakness for Thanos, but he later learned to control it and overcame it. Intimidation was a trait that many villains possessed, and Thanos was skilled at it. Thanos terrified other Marvel villains like Ronan and Loki. Being a skilled con artist, Thanos posed a severe threat to Loki, the god of mischief. Even the wounds cursed by the Stormbreaker healed completely thanks to Thanos' rapid healing. Thanos has extraordinary reflexes, despite his height and bulk, which strengthens his defenses and improves his ability to deflect enemy assaults. Now, he also was not the last of his kind. To appear more appealing to people around him, Thanos portrayed himself as the lone survivor of a crisis. But now that it's known that Thanos has a brother named Eros, he can no longer be considered the last of his kind. It sounds more like another lie though. The facts of Titan might have been substantially different from what Thanos claimed if he'd only had his word for it. Prior to the crisis, they might have fired Thanos for acting badly, or he might have wiped them out. Knowing that Eros exists makes it harder to trust Thanos, even though there's no way to be certain. He can be pretty violent. Thanos pretended to be concerned about his surroundings' pain. However, it surprised him that he was so needlessly violent when he traveled into the past to stop the Avengers. The Thanos of Endgame showed little concern. In contrast to the Thanos of Infinity War, who at least attempted to lessen pain, it should have been perceived as a moment for Thanos to reflect on how he could make this snap better since these people had witnessed its impacts. Instead, he reacted violently and attacked everyone, trying to kill them all. It demonstrated that he wasn't attempting to end misery in the cosmos. Instead, all he wanted was to die. Did you know he killed his entire family? His desire for conquest and destruction intensified as his powers did. To build a sizable private army, Thanos seized one of his people's starships and traveled the universe in quest of mercenaries and dissonance. He assembled a small fleet and used it to deliver nuclear bombs on Titan, his home planet, killing millions of people, including his mother, Sui-San. He proclaimed himself the emperor of what was left of Titan and turned his attention to Earth, a planet in the neighborhood. Soon later, Thanos encountered Death itself in physical form. Thanos attracted Death, who took the appearance of a human girl. As his partner, due to his commitment to nihilism and the mass murder of his own people, Thanos tries to start over as an adult by starting a family. He is then again visited by Mistress Death, for who he murders his new family. Now, Thanos was in fact beaten by a squirrel girl. For Thanos, things haven't always gone according to plan. Although he's suffered more than his fair share of setbacks, none have been as humiliating as falling to a human squirrel and her army of fuzzy allies. That's right, Squirrel Girl has defeated the ruthless, savage, tremendously powerful, seemingly unbeatable, and occasionally omnipotent Thanos. GLXmas #1, which was released in 2005 and wasn't actually part of the official Marvel canon, was meant to be a parody as it was in a special holiday edition. But in it, the Watcher made light of the instances where Thanos has been beaten far too easily, only to subsequently claim that it wasn't truly him by saying that it was Thanos and not a copy or other imposter. It makes sense that Squirrel Girl earned the title the Slay of All the Breaths. And finally, his brother is an Avenger. The eldest son of Alars and Sui-San, two Eternals, is is Eros. Eros, in contrast to his power-hungry, misanthropic brother, Thanos grew up to be a fun-loving, carefree womanizer. Only then, Thanos killed their mother, Sui-san. In his first significant raid on Titan did Eros start to take life a little more seriously. Eros battled alongside Captain Marvel and the Avengers and the Titan survivors in a battle against Thanos. Here, Thanos will suffer his first defeat. Following this, Eros visited Earth and searched up the Avengers after once more becoming aware of his wanderlust. Eros was allowed to join the Avengers under the moniker Star Fox because the Avengers thought his given name was improper. For several months, he battled alongside them, aiding in the victory of Terminus and Maelstrom. Later, after learning that the space pirate Nebula was actually his niece, he would depart from the Avengers to pursue her. Unfortunately, guys, that's all the time we had for today. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and as always, thanks for watching.